What's up, everybody? It's Maddie. Welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. Yeah, so today didn't go quite how I wanted it to. I was trying to do the boat ride challenge, and between weather and having a bunch of stuff to do this afternoon and all that, and the other issue is Animal Kingdom and Epcot Studios. Their hours are, well, Studios doesn't have any boat rides, but the parks have such short hours that it makes it so freaking hard now to do these challenges versus before 2020 when everything used to stay open until 10 or 11 or even later. Hell, Magic Kingdom used to stay open until midnight or 1 a.m. without having a special pay $130 or more extra party. So I'm still going to try it at some point, but I just got to think it out a little better. I keep forgetting that, you know, when a lot of people did those challenges, things were way different as far as park operations go. So just like I've seen a lot of vloggers and live streamers try the ride every single ride in a day, and so far that I know of, nobody's been able to do it because, one, the park hours being drastically cut, two, Genie Plus sucks, and yeah, the lines plus all the breakdowns of the rides, it's almost impossible. There was a few people that did it prior to 2020, but other than that, I don't think anybody's been successful with it post 2020. I think some people have been close, but I don't think it's been done yet. If you know somebody that's done it, let me know, but I don't think I've seen anybody do it yet, or they've been close, but I don't think they've been successful. Anyway, since it didn't turn out how I wanted, I thought, how else can I use this platform to help bring some education to people and better help them out with certain things? Meaning the public health and safety stuff like that. You know, I've been a fireman 18 years, paramedic, gosh, you're 16 or 17 now, and my time in the fire service was so much more than just firefighting. You know, one of my proud moments of things that I did when I worked with City of Folly Beach Fire Department was I became a member of the ocean rescue team, and that was some intense shit, man, let me tell you. It's one thing to go on a life-saving mission to rescue somebody from a lake, but it's a whole nother thing going into the ocean, especially maybe a couple miles out to help somebody. Like, it's just on another level. But I really, really enjoyed it. And what got me thinking about talking about this, and again, it's not an easy thing to talk about, but I think it's definitely something that awareness needs to be brought to this, because it is summer here in Florida, and pretty much it's summer year round. We are the vacation destination practically the entire world, it seems. Well, for theme parks and our beaches, east and west coast. But for the people that are going to come down to Florida and visit our beaches, this is what we're going to talk about. There was a horrible accident that happened. The article I have was from June the 21st, so I'm guessing it happened that day or the day before. But regardless, in the last day or two this happened, and this was down in Palm Beach, it looks like. And I'll just read this. Parents, it's written kind of weird the way the article is when you read it. I was confused by it because it sounded like a whole lot more people were killed in this incident, but it was the two. But it says parents of 6 die in Florida rip current. So I'm gonna tell you something. And again, you gotta tread lightly on this stuff because, one, respect for the people that sadly lost their life, you know, while being on vacation, but also awareness needs to be brought to anybody that's coming down to Florida and is going to take advantage of our beautiful beaches here, and even our swimming pools and everything else. Like this all ties together, so just bear with me on this. The article reads, a Pennsylvania couple died in a rip current on a Florida beach Thursday, so this happened Thursday, while on vacation with their 6 children. The incident happened about an hour north of West Palm Beach at Hutchinson Island, a barrier island in Martin County on the Atlantic coast. Brian Warder, 51, and Erica Wishart, 48, were visiting with their six kids, most of whom are teenagers, according to the Martin County Sheriff's Office. They were swimming outside of an area further up the beach that's protected by lifeguards and where red flags warned of the danger. People, I cannot tell you enough. If you are going to swim in the ocean, on the east side or the west side, Florida or up and down the Atlantic coast or in the Pacific coast, wherever you're swimming, if it's a large body of water that is an ocean or Lake Michigan even, or any of the Great Lakes, please, please, please educate yourself and your family on what the flags mean that fly out at the beaches. Every day on the beach, there's a different type of color flag that's waving. Green means it's good. Yellow is keep an eye out. Red is meaning that things are getting really dangerous. And while we're going to say you can swim if you know what you're doing, we'd rather you not. And double red means stay the hell out of the water. Double red means there's life-threatening conditions active in the ocean, with rip currents and everything else. And purple means there's dangerous marine life swimming in the area, in the immediate area. Stay out of the water. But it just amazes me that people don't know what these flags mean. I witnessed it many times when I worked with the City of Folly Beach Fire Department. They would put the flags out, especially when hurricanes were nearby or tropical storms, and they'd fly the double reds. And sure enough, there'd be people in the surf. And I mean, in some places you can be heavily fined for that. So I'm telling you, people, please educate yourselves on these flags. It's not, I don't speak this to just like hear myself talk. I say this because I feel like with technology and everything being handed to us, like people are getting less and less aware of their surroundings and what things are. Like I've made comments about this before, like at Disney, you know, people struggle with parking in a parking lot or following directions to get through security. And these are simple directions. And my thought is always, you know, if you can't follow the simple stuff, how are we going to manage the larger stuff? And, you know, stuff like this is, you know, again, we want to obviously not disrespect these people. You know, sadly they lost their life, but this is a tragedy that clearly could have been prevented, you know, by just simple knowledge of what these flags mean. So it's set now. See, in the other error here is in the article, this family was swimming outside of an area further up a beach that's protected by lifeguards and where red flags warned of the danger. So now they were in an unguarded area where you've got double reds flying, which means stay out of the water. It said, we had very strong surf, 4 to 6 feet, which is very high. I'm a good swimmer. I've been on an ocean rescue team. I wouldn't go in that kind of water just to play around in. I mean, even to go in there and rescue somebody, that would be very difficult. It said they had very powerful rip currents. The ocean rescue chief, Ian, I hope I pronounced that right, Montglass told weather.com Friday. It said the swimmers had gotten caught in the water. They had jumped directly into a rip current and immediately got pulled out to sea. So probably what happened is they, you know, like everybody likes to do, you know, we run and jump into the ocean, and as you know, there's deep places, there's not so deep places, but yes, if you jump into a rip current, it will yank you. And you're going to keep going until you get out of it, or the rip current stops. Which, I mean, hell, people have been reported to being taken 2 to 3 miles out before it stops. Apparently, this was witnessed by some lifeguards, and they were already driving down the beach to warn the people, the family, to get out of this situation, meaning get out of the water. But as they were driving, this situation escalated, as it sounds like the husband and wife struggled to get their kids out. So basically the kids got in, jumped in, got pulled out by the rip current. Parents went after them. They got stuck in it. And then it says 2 of the teens were also swept up but escaped the current and then tried to go and help the parents. Monteglass said lifeguards pulled Wishart out of the water and they had to briefly search for Warder, who had gone under. That's the other thing with these rip currents, is they do have the tendency to yank you under the water as well. They're very strong. The rescuers did perform CPR as other first responders rushed to the scene and continued life-saving measures. Warder and Wishart were both pronounced dead at a local hospital. And it said the incident happened as a low off the southeast coast, designated Invest 92L, churned up the sea and created a high surf in some areas. So again, watching the simple weather report, I'm telling you people, if you are going to be in the ocean, please, we have these phones nobody doesn't have one. Realistically, nobody is without one. If you are in an area that is near the surf or a beach community, you can pull it up and it will have all of the warnings on there. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is just take a quick look. This tragedy is so avoidable. I think that's why I'm so frustrated, because I can't imagine, those rescuers and firefighters that went after these people and to not, be able to save it. I mean, I can't imagine. It's horrible. It's a horrible feeling when you've tried everything and it wasn't good enough. It sucks. And also too, again, we've had this, it's not brand new. This tropical storm Invest has been hanging out right off the East Coast, right by Florida for quite a while, and it does it. Anytime there's these tropical storms, it rips the sea up. We saw it at Folly Beach. Every time a hurricane or a tropical storm would get near the coastline, man, that you could just see it. The ocean, as we always would say, just looked angry. It had a very angry look to it. I'm a good swimmer. I wouldn't go near that. And it says it says when that happens, water can pile up along the coast, and when too much water rises near the coast, it can rush back out to sea in a narrow channel. The channels are called rip currents. They're hard to see, and they can sweep swimmers away from the beach. When I went through ocean rescue, they taught us how to look for rip currents. And if you're from an elevated platform, like from a pier or even higher, like our firehouse had a lookout point, and the one at Isle of Palms does too, because Isle of Palms' firehouse is right by the ocean as well, and this is in South Carolina. And when I visited their stations, I had a buddy that worked there. They took me to their lookout, and they were showing me, how they look for rip currents. And once you know how to spot one, they're very easy to see. And they try to keep people away from that, but like I said, it's hard. It's really hard. It said these channels are called rip currents. They're hard to see and can sweep swimmers away from the beach. I mean, they're hard to see for somebody that's not trained in looking for them. So that's what that article is referring to, basically. It says at least 11 other people have died in rip currents on U.S. beaches so far just this year. With summer just getting started, according to the data tracked by the National Weather Service, 91 people died last year, making rip currents second only to heat in terms of weather-related deaths. Again, guys and gals, this is such a simple thing to avoid. I said these are strong currents that not even an Olympic swimmer can overcome. That is very true. I've been in one, and I will tell you, they suck. I got in one when we were trying to make a rescue. But the only way out of it is you have to go parallel to the shore. Because people's immediate reaction is to swim back. You can't do it. It said, if caught in a rip current, don't fight it. Let it pull you away from the beach. And when the current lessens, swim parallel to the shore to escape it. There are signs all over the beaches that show you how to get out of one. But again, people don't think clearly. They just, panic overrides them, and this is what creates this situation. So then you should be able to make it back to the beach safely. If you cannot swim parallel to the shore, don't panic. Remain calm until the current releases you and try to signal for help. The other thing you have to, well, hold on, let me finish this. It says other safety tips including checking NOAA's surf zone forecast, which if you're going to a beach on the ocean, you should have that at your fingertips. Before going to the beach, knowing your own physical limits when swimming. But above all else, if you're going to go in, make sure you go to a life-guarded beach, Monteglass said. And please, this is not in the article, but I'm adding this, please pay attention to the flags that are waving. If it's a red or a double red, stay out of the water. Please. This is what a rip current looks like by using green dye. This I thought was a really good illustration. You can see how it's piled up with the water there, and then how it easily sweeps it right out through that channel. And that's not the same rip current that sadly killed those people, but that's basically how it works. So if you jump into where that green dye is and you're jumping into the ocean, you're going straight out with it. And you can see, you know, how far out that goes, and who knows how much farther that does pull. But that's what a rip current looks like using green dye. But if you do find yourself in one and you find yourself going away from shore, I'm telling you, please do not panic. I know it's easier said than done, but panic is what kills people. Because one, you're not thinking correctly. You're running out of gas because you're trying to go back against something that is physically, again, they said it right here, not even Michael Phelps can outswim a rip current, you know, or whoever the strongest Olympic swimmer is these days. Your only chance of getting out of it is you have to go sideways, parallel to the shore. And when you'll feel it release you, because all of a sudden it'll feel like this grip has just been broken. Or when it finally carries you out far enough, and again, same thing, it just releases you. And the other thing you have to remember is you're in salt water. You do float in salt water. People, again, don't realize that. They start panicking, and their brain overrides all logical thinking. And realistically, you all people, everybody I'm talking to, if you cannot swim, stay out of the ocean. Learn how to swim first, then go to the ocean. It is not a place to go and have your first experience with water. I'm telling you, it's just like the Great Lakes, same thing. Do not go to the Great Lakes if you don't know how to swim. It's a disaster waiting to happen. In fact, rip currents in the Great Lakes are far worse than they are in the ocean, because the Great Lakes are like, oh my gosh, they make the ocean look tame. I had a guy that was a Coast Guard, retired Coast Guard, that I worked with at the fire department, and he even told me that a lot of Coast Guard members would much rather work the ocean than work the Great Lakes. They referred to it as a washing machine, the Great Lakes washing machine, because everything is so rough and unpredictable. A lot of even the best sea mariners out there, like boat captains and everybody, hate the Great Lakes because of how unpredictable they are. The ocean's obviously a lot bigger and a little easier to predict, but people that are not experienced boaters or experienced with any type of ocean rescue or anything like that really need to be very, very versed in being a good swimmer. Like I said, if you're not, then don't get in the ocean. I'm just telling you, go and observe it. But a rip current can pull you out even from knee-deep water. I mean, it's no joke. It will grab you. It's like somebody grabs you around the ankles and just keeps yanking you out until it stops. Like you said, the rip current itself isn't deadly. It's the response to the rip current that's deadly. It's people that panic. And if you don't know how to swim, I'm sure no matter where you live in the U.S. or around the world, I'm sure there's local places that do teach swimming lessons. Young or old, learn to flip and swim, please. And I don't say that as a pun or anything, but please learn to swim. One of the main problems is kids get in trouble. The parents don't know how to swim, and the parents go, you know, obviously you're not going to let your kid drown or watch them drown, so they're going to do everything they can to save them. They have no idea how to swim or perform a rescue, and now the parents themselves become victims. And it's a tragedy, and it happens so often. Same thing with swimming pools and everything else. These things cause more drownings than pretty much anything. Because why? Because these distract the shit out of people. There was another sad tragedy. I know this isn't the greatest of vlogs right now, but I mean, this stuff needs to be talked about. There was a tragedy that happened a couple weeks ago here locally in Orlando at one of the resorts. A mother told a friend of hers to watch their kids at the pool while she was packing the room up to get ready to check out. And apparently whoever was the mother appointed to watch the child was turned with their back toward the water, with the child in the water, face in the phone, and and the child started to drown. Well, you know how, just take a look at people now. They're walking around with these giant earmuffs on with earphones or earbuds. People don't hear shit these days. Everybody's desensitized to the environment. Well, when the mother got down there was obviously a lot of screaming, because when the person that was supposed to be watching the child turned around, the child was floating in the water behind him. And that child was brought to Celebration Hospital here locally, and sadly, I don't believe they were successful in resuscitating that child. Had been down for way too long. Again, completely preventable situation. All because of this stupid idiot box sometimes. If you have kids in the water, or if you're near a body of water and you're supposed to be watching somebody, or even if you're not supposed to be watching somebody, sit forward and keep an eye on things. Because I'm telling you, it doesn't take much, man. And what was really sad was, I guess they had the security footage of that person that was supposed to be watching that kid literally with their back to the pool, and you could see the kid starting to struggle and drown in the pool, and that had no clue, because I guess they had earphones on or whatever was going on, but didn't hear any of the outside noise. And that whole 5 minutes of that poor kid struggling, and that person was literally sitting right there next to the pool with their back to the water. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine the mother. I can't, just the raw emotion of something like that. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that story was kind of making its way around the emergency rooms locally, because that was a big profile case that hit. And anytime a child especially is injured or killed in something senseless like that, it gets a little bit of traction, because a lot of it incites a lot of raw emotion, because it's so preventable. So the other thing I want to tell y'all, please take some extra time and just learn some basic first aid. Everybody should know how to use one of those AEDs. That they're everywhere now. There should be no excuse to not be able to use one. They're all over. Literally using one of those correctly could save somebody's life. As I've said before, don't wait for somebody else to use it. Educate yourself and learn how to use it. People should know basic life-saving skills. The reason I say that is because fire departments and emergency medical services and even hospitals, the staffing is getting worse and worse and worse as the days go on. And people are now having to wait longer for fire rescue, for emergency medical, even police, because of staffing issues. You got to start taking some matters into your own hands. You got to start being responsible and not turning and wait for somebody else to do something. You know, it's not hard to learn the basics: airway, breathing, circulation. As long as you have those three things, you're going to have enough for life, or at least to get by till you get to the hospital. But everybody should know how to keep airway, how to keep breathing, how to keep circulation going. That's just basic life skills. That's stuff that I learned in 9th grade when I was a freshman in this class called Health and Safety. They taught us, I was fully certified to CPR when I was in 9th grade, because I was part of the school's curriculum. We had to do it, which I'm glad we did. But they don't teach that stuff anymore. At least I don't think they do. But people need to know that stuff. Parents of newborns need to learn how to perform basic life-saving skills. Again, because fire rescue might take 20-30 minutes to get to you. It's just the reality of things these days. Everybody's so short-staffed. You gotta know how to take care of yourselves. And if you want to take classes or you want anything, look at the area you live in. The Red Cross is always offering classes on, basic life support skills, or always offering classes on getting certified with the AED. There's always things to educate yourself on. Instead of spending every waking moment staring at this stupid thing, or use this stupid thing to educate yourself. Just like parents of new kids, newborns, you should know basic skills. Is that kid's lips pink? Are the nail beds pink? Is their skin pink? Do they have a strong cry? You know, are they gurgling, or do they have decent breath sounds? Is their stomach seesawing? You know, stuff like that, because so many parents run these kids to the ER for absolutely no reason, but they're freaking out because they don't know anything. And like I said, with things getting shorter and shorter staffed, people are going to have to start educating themselves on certain things. I'm not saying we're not going to help people, but it might be longer till help arrives, and you got to know what to do to help take care of somebody while you're waiting for help to arrive. So please educate yourselves, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed this talk. I know it wasn't exactly an uplifting one, but it's things that need to be said. And just like the one I did a couple months ago, it's things that need to be put out there. It's, you know, I love what I do on this channel with the theme parks and everything else, but there's also another side of this that I feel like we need to cover, and I need to use my education and things I've learned to get it out to you all, so maybe I can help somebody. Maybe somebody watches this and be like, yeah, you know what, he's right, let's go get certified, or let's go take this class so we can be better educated on things. Even if it makes one difference, man, it was worth it. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you like what you saw, subscribe to the channel. We're growing little bits at a time, and get into that algorithm. You know, if you like it, give it a like, and I will see you all again on the very next one. But I hope you got some education out of this, and I hope you picked up some things that you may not have known. So we'll see you all again very shortly. Main Street Fire Rescue out of service. See ya.